Hello, everyone. My name is Linda McDonnell, and I am your host of the Real Christian Moms Quarantine Survival Series. It is my pleasure to introduce our guest expert speaker today, Helen Buckner. Helen was a kindergarten and first grade teacher for 14 years, and she enjoyed traveling and sharing her travel photos with her students while explaining about other parts of the world. She has traveled to 40 countries, and she believes that the best education you can give to children is the gift of travel because experiencing other cultures is eye-opening for them and it really broadens their world. Helen specializes in family travel with children and even grandparents. Helen, it is such a pleasure to have you here with us today. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This is wonderful.
Great. So, Helen, I'd like to begin by just asking, how did you become enamored with travel and how did you transition, out of education into the travel industry?
Oh, I've traveled a lot with my husband. He had to travel some for business, and so I would go with him. And that's taken us from China to Spain to all over the world. And so just have always loved it. We love exploring. We love seeing new cultures. And I especially love seeing how families work and how school is and, all the details of that since I was a teacher. I taught kindergarten, like you said, for many years. And then the last year I taught first grade. And I just got to a point where I needed a change. And I was trying to figure out, well, what can I do with my teaching degree? And like I said, I've always loved travel. And the other thing was I wanted to work from home.
Okay.
so I just searched online quite a bit, eventually came across a listing for this position with Ciao Bambino. And so I've been doing that the last few years, and I absolutely love it. I love helping families make memories.
Oh, I love that. That's beautiful. I'm just curious, what is one of your favorite places that you've traveled to in the world? I'm just curious.
Ooh. My happy place is Lauterbrunnen, Switzerland. It's this little tiny village in the mountains, and you take a train up from Interlaken to get up there. And when my family and I got off the train, I literally did a little happy dance because it's this cute little village with a waterfall coming down in the middle of the village and just gorgeous. And my kids laughed at me, and they still laugh at me to this day about my happy dance. But yeah, that's one of my favorite places.
Oh, it sounds beautiful. I have never been abroad yet, so that is
Ooh.
one of our goals as a family when everything settles down with the pandemic. Our son is 10 and he has a great desire to travel. So, I said to my husband, I would love to be able to give him that gift someday, so
Yeah.
that's great. So, Helen, what trends are you seeing right now, like in travel, since COVID began?
Well, since we can't do much international travel at this point, people are exploring closer to home. They're kind of figuring out what's in their backyard and what's in the US that they haven't seen before. They're taking road trips. They are, some are renting RVs, we have an RV, and we just got back from Colorado a couple weeks ago. So that's always a really good way to travel with social distancing as well. People are renting houses. They are going to national parks. They're doing road trips on both coasts, east and west. Dude ranches are a fun, different thing.
Oh,
Some
okay.
people are even renting houseboats for something totally different. So
Wow.
there's a lot of things you can do, but those are the things we're seeing this summer since we can't really go very far.
Yes, absolutely. I have two friends who have rented RVs. One is home, and she said it was one of the best experiences. The company actually delivered the RV and then took it back, so that was wonderful. And I have another friend who's currently on vacation right now doing that, so I can't wait to hear about it. And I said to my husband, we should have, maybe we should have planned that. We're going back to school in our district in 2 weeks, but I said, maybe next year that would be something that we can consider. So that's very popular where we live. Definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
So, besides the United States, like where can families travel now, like without quarantine? Are there any places that we could go?
Actually, there are, surprisingly. Some do have quarantines, but probably the easiest international destination is Mexico.
Okay. Okay. Are there, and what would you recommend in Mexico, like for families? Are there certain like parts of Mexico that you would recommend?
Same, I think my connection is unstable, so it may be my end.
No problem. So, Helen, where in Mexico would you recommend families to try if they've never been there before?
Well, there's a couple of different areas. Cabo is, on the west coast is a popular place, but also sort of the Cancun Riviera Maya area is really popular right now, and it's easy to get into. There's no restrictions other than taking their temperature and that sort of self-certifying that you don't have COVID. You don't have to have a negative test or anything. So you can fly there. You can't drive over the border though.
Oh,
The
okay.
driving border's closed, but you can fly there.
Oh, okay.
Um,
That's good to know.
yeah, but there's lots of other places that you can go. The Caribbean, you can go to St. Bart's, you can go to St. Lucia, the U.S. Virgin Islands, Tahiti, Croatia, Montenegro, Ecuador, Armenia, Honduras, and Costa Rica if you live in one of 6 United States. One of the
Oh,
states. They're really limiting it because of the different levels in different states, but you can go to Costa Rica if you live in one of those 6 states. But the
okay.
thing to know, and this changes all the time, is what are the restrictions? Some require a negative PCR test anywhere from 72 hours before you leave to 10 days before you leave. So some places require that you register before you leave the United States. Some require a second test a certain number of days after you arrive in the location. So a good travel advisor will know what the procedures and restrictions are and requirements for each destination. So that's important to know.
Okay,
But
wonderful.
in all these locations, villa rentals are very popular. Some families are staying for close to a month. They'll go and work remotely. Their kids will do virtual school, and as long as you have an internet connection, you can be almost anywhere. So
Wow.
we've even seen different, like if 2 families that are friends have both been following all the safety guidelines, they might meet up in some island somewhere and rent a house together and vacation together. So there's lots of possibilities still. Just you have to be a little more creative.
Right, right. Well, that sounds very enticing.
It does.
My husband's going to be like, hmm.
Let's go.
Yes, exactly, exactly. So what advice would you give to families, who really are just wanting to travel right now and they just have, hesitation?
Yeah, well, everyone has different comfort levels. So it's important to know what the hotel and airline cleaning protocols are and their safety procedures, new procedures that they have. I've been very impressed with a lot of the new cleaning standards that the hotels are coming up with.
Okay.
They have contactless check-in now. They have lower capacities in the hotels, anywhere from 30 to 50%. They will let rooms rest in between guests. And then once they clean them, they'll put a sticker on the door and nobody can go in once it's all clean, that type of thing. Breakfast buffets are a thing of the past.
Yes.
They're getting more creative in how they provide breakfast. Um, some don't offer daily housekeeping anymore unless you request that, so that no one comes in the room once you're in there, that type of thing. So it's good to know the procedures and what to expect.
Right, right.
Um, Another thing to understand too is that there is pent up demand. So another thing to understand is there is pent-up demand. People have been cooped up for a long time and they are ready to travel. So once things open up, everyone's going to want to book at the same time. So I recommend booking as soon as possible. Start now for Christmas. Christmas is already very full, but for spring break and summer as well. The trips that were supposed to go this year for spring and summer have been pushed to next year. So things are filling up. So if you're planning on traveling internationally, for sure, start as soon as possible.
Okay.
Another recommendation I have is to use a travel advisor. I can tell you horror stories of people when it came time to cancel their trips. If they had booked them themselves, they would wait hours and hours and hours on the phone, and then they'd be on hold, and then all of a sudden they'd get cut off.
Right.
And they're trying to cancel every hotel and tour and transfer and flight and activity, everything they were trying to do, and it was very, very frustrating. Expedia doesn't answer the phone, but I will.
I like,
And
yes, I like dealing with a real person for sure.
yeah, yeah. And so you make one call to me and I'll take care of all the frustrations for you. An advisor also will get to know you and your family and your likes and dislikes and your travel style. And they make trip planning easy for you. Plus, they can VIP you. You can't VIP yourself to get free upgrades and breakfast and spa credits and things like that. But I can do that for you. Advisors do charge fees for their time, but it's worth it for the advice, the years of expertise, knowing the guides that are kid friendly that will keep your children engaged in learning what you're learning about, what you're seeing, knowing the best routes to see a country, off the beaten path local experiences that you want your kids to have, like having a meal in someone's house or a cooking class. Kids love those things. And as a former teacher, I love planning those eye-opening experiences for kids. Travel advisors give you peace of mind, especially with all the changes going on right now.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. A couple years ago, we just planned a trip to Disney with our son. And initially, my husband wanted to do it on his own. And I said, well, we have a really good friend who used to be in the travel industry. She's not anymore. And I said, well, let's use her. And he was like, oh, okay, yeah. He said, I totally forgot about that. So we did, and good thing we did, because we ended up having to cancel and reschedule because our son came down with strep throat like the day
Oh,
before we were scheduled to go. And I said, if it was one phone call to her, like you said, and she took care of everything. And she said, Linda, no problem. She said, you're rescheduled for this date. She said, everything is, been taken care of. And I was like, oh, just to
yeah,
be able to have that, sigh of relief, thinking, oh my gosh, there are so many things I'm going to have to worry about. And all I wanted to do, of course, was to focus on our son and take care of him.
right.
So yes, I agree 100% that a travel agent is a must have for sure.
Yeah. And
Wonderful.
then one final piece of advice, and it kind of goes along with what you were just saying, is to get travel insurance. So when things like that happen, somebody gets sick at the last minute, you've got coverage. But particularly in these days, cancel for any reason insurance is very important. If an airline won't refund your tickets, or a hotel or tour company goes out of business, because who knows, these days it's been a long time and it's dragged down a lot longer than anyone expected. So typically, cancel for any reason insurance will pay 75% of your costs, of your non-refundable costs,
Yeah,
and that's better than $0. So
absolutely.
yeah, it's a bit more expensive than regular travel insurance, but it's absolutely worth it in these crazy times that we're living in right now. But there are important details to know that an advisor can help you with, and that is, like, you have to cover the entire trip, flights and all. You have to purchase it within either 14 or 21 days, depending on the company, of your first deposit that you've made on the trip, whether that's the flights you bought or the first hotel you booked. There's a time clock ticking, so you have to purchase within that time frame, or you can't purchase it at all.
Oh,
So there's
okay.
things like that that you need to know that a good advisor would be able to tell you about. So yeah, I think something I didn't mention at the very beginning is kind of how we did mention that I specialize in family travel, but I didn't go over. We do a lot of work with families with kids, obviously of all ages, but also we do multi-generational trips. So like traveling with the grandparents. Sometimes it's the grandparents, the parents, and the kids. Sometimes it's a grandparent-grandchild trip, which is a very special trip to plan. And sometimes it's we can do parent getaways if we don't want to get away without the kids. And I've even done a few honeymoons, but mostly it's family travel. That's what I specialize in. But Ciao Bambino is good because we know where the good kid-friendly guides are, the ones that are going to keep their attention. And there's nothing worse than a kid going, "Mom, are we done yet? I want to go back and
Right.
go to the pool," or whatever. So a guide that keeps your child's attention is really important. And we work with 4 and 5 star hotels, so we're not on the lower end of the spectrum as far as cost goes, but people who like to travel well,
Mhm.
we can help them with that. And so yeah, I have a freebie I want to give away.
Oh, yeah, please.
It's it's just like a flyer or brochure about traveling with children of all ages. And there's different recommendations for different ages of children. And so if anybody is interested in that, they can email me. And it's simple, helen@ciaobambino.com. And I think you're going to have
Yes,
that
I will.
somewhere, right?
Yes, I am going to put the link to your email underneath your video. So everyone will have easy access to that.
Okay, great. And also our website, ciaobambino.com, has tons and tons of great travel information for families. We've been around for, I think, 16 or 17 years now. And so it's like a blog, and there's lots and lots of information on destinations and hotels and activities you can do all over the world. We can go anywhere. We can send you anywhere all over the world. So that's a great place to start if you're just like, oh, we might want to go to Italy. I don't know. What do you think? And then you dig around on our website a little bit. And oh, wow, this sounds great. Or we want to go to Japan, or we want to go to Costa Rica, wherever. We can help you with wherever you want to go. We've all traveled. There's about 20 of us advisors, and we've traveled all over the world ourselves. So we have a lot of experience to draw on.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Thank you. That guide sounds very, very, useful. I know the moms who are going to watch this, they will be, very pleased with that. And just the fact that you all have so much experience with traveling yourself, I think that really is what also will set you apart. So, I always feel like you get what you pay for. I purchased something from, a large store recently, and I went with the cheaper option, and I was like, I should have went with the regular brand on this one, but so I really do believe that you get what you pay for sure.
Right. Yeah. And
Well,
I'm ready to travel again. I know you are.
yeah.
I'm actually supposed to go to Greece in a few weeks, and I'm just waiting for them to allow Americans to come. So, yeah, I'm ready to go too. I know you guys are too. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. And I was thinking when you said about doing couples getaways, I was laughing to myself thinking, there are so many parents right now who are like, yes, please sign us up. Like we love
yes,
our children. I mean, we adore our children, but I
of
think
course.
with quarantine, with everyone being in such close quarters for such a long period of time, it's I think it's been challenging to say the least for couples to really have that alone time to just connect and to talk and to even just dream together. So,
Yes, absolutely. I understand.
well, Helen, it was an absolute pleasure having you here today. Thank you so much for sharing like your insight about the travel industry. I know our viewers are going to, really enjoy it, and I'm hoping that several of them or many of them will end up booking with you in the near future.
Well, that'd be great. Yeah, it's been challenging. We've spent a lot of time canceling things, and people are a little bit tentative on whether they are ready to start planning again, but it'll come back. I'm totally confident of that. It always does. People will always want to travel, and there's just so many benefits in travel. So, yeah, I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you for your time, and I wish you and your family continued blessings. And I'm so glad that the hurricane missed you guys because I know we were a little concerned about that earlier when we were scheduling this interview. So I'm
Right.
just very grateful that you are all safe.
Thank you. We are too. We really dodged a bullet here in Houston, and I feel for the ones that are enduring it now. It's not fun. Been there, done that. Don't want to do it again.
Right.
So yeah,
No.
it's
Well,
it's tough.
absolutely. Well, we'll send our prayers to all of those people being impacted.
Yes.
For sure.
Well, thank you for this opportunity. It's been
Sure.
wonderful.
Oh, wonderful. Well, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll be in touch soon.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you. You too.
Take care.
Mhm.